We start by seeing a boy named Brandon who wakes up in the middle of the night and, upon finding the room locked, decides to climb out of the second-floor window and heads to the open part of the house. Meanwhile, his mother, Melinda, studies recent cases involving sudden changes in children's behavior, and something surprises and worries her. Brandon walks down the hallway and feels a slight breeze and wind on his face, with voices whispering to him. When he approaches the other window, he observes a strange creature standing, looking at the house. When it moves, he gets scared. Brandon goes to the kitchen, grabs a blade, and stays alert to anything that might be entering his home. He notices the front door opening, and the tall masked creature enters, holding a knife, just like he is. Terrified, he runs to his mother's room, who, seeing her son with the blade, fears, since it is precisely cases like that which have left her worried. Melinda asks her son for the object, so he does not accidentally hurt himself, unaware that the boy is fascinated, stunned by the creature approaching him. When the creature moves to meet the young boy, he, for no concrete reason, seriously injures his mother. The scene changes, and we meet Asha, a young woman who offers some advice for those living in a world of stress, worries, and anxiety. She talks in the video that, to relieve herself, she reflects her fears and stresses onto objects and then calmly destroys them, claiming that this calms her spirit. However, she herself does not seem to be at peace, as her videos have no views. Her parents, Amir and Leah, soon call her to go to a performance of her brother Cameron. But before they leave, her father asks them to leave their phones at home, having strange principles, which makes Asha uncomfortable, as she imagines she is the only young person who has to do this. Later, they admire the family member at the jazz performance, where Amir talks with his friend David, who came accompanied by his wife Sarah and their daughter Emily. The two daughters go outside the school theater and chat a bit, annoyed that Asha's parents are preventing her from bringing her cell phone on outings. However, Emily's parents bring the phone, and David, receiving news, tells Amir that he is keeping an eye on a local news app and says something strange is happening in town. He reports that 2 boys were hurt, something intentional, as it has relevance to a type of online challenge. David states that a masked figure offers such a challenge, meant to hurt, injure oneself, or even harm someone else. Amir is left confused, and to make matters even more intriguing, several people inside the theater receive notifications. David explains that what is fashionable, his children tend to follow, so they should be extra careful. Outside the school, the friends talk about their videos not being watched much, but Asha's has a comment from a profile called Cassidy Johnston. While the friends analyze the situation, Amir goes looking for his daughter and ends up finding them. He talks alone with his daughter, who desires more engagement, but her frustrations are greater than the views. The father wants his daughter to dedicate herself more to professional growth, but Asha claims that she has tried hard and believes she is wasting her time. After they arrive home, each returns to their routines on their cell phones and games. Amir searches for the news app. Leah watches the videos of her daughter and her friend, while Asha eagerly awaits a friend request from Cassidy. Suddenly, on the parents' devices, they receive notifications from other parents, and when they open them, they see a terrifying masked figure. Back to Asha, her father surprises her wanting to talk to her. He takes the young girl and her brother to present the new danger of the internet, showing the photo of the masked figure. Amir searched for information and discovered that the masked figure is called Grim Cuddy, at first glance an internet meme that recently emerged, but is responsible for disturbing and dangerous challenges that cause people to injure themselves. He questions whether his children have had any online contact with that image, which they claim they have not. The father states that Grim Cuddy offers challenges to people in promise of gaining attention, and unfortunately, many are doing so, and even dangerous and cruel things have been done. The children assert that they have not had contact, and the parents tell them to be more careful with what they click on the internet and not to accept challenges. With a disdainful expression, Asha plays with her father, saying there is no danger and that she will not hurt him. Later, Asha talks with Emily, and her friend states she has heard about Grim Cuddy. Asha tries to reassure her, saying the parents will soon forget about it. In the couple's room, Leah receives a notification that a child of a colleague ended up being found injured. This leaves both of them worried and causes them to research more about Grim Cuddy. While doing this, we can see the creature Grim Cuddy outside. In the kitchen, Asha hears calm sounds while preparing a snack. Unbeknownst to her, someone stealthily enters through the back door. Soon, Asha looks to the side and comes face to face with the tall creature, Grimcutty, a humanoid being with a terrifying face and a macabre smile plastered on. In panic, the young woman screams and attracts her parents to her. Fortunately, the creature is already gone, and Amir closes the open door. When the police arrive to report the incident, the officer is not that surprised, as he already knows who the intruder is, showing the young girl the masked figure called Grimcutty. Upon learning that the young girl was on her cell phone before the incident, the officer talks privately with the parents. Asha hears when the officer claims that the young people are making these complaints as a possible challenge to be fulfilled, so he does not know if the young people are really in danger. After the officer leaves, Amir takes away his daughter's electronic devices, preventing her from possible contact with Grimcutty. The daughter explains herself and states that she is not participating in challenges. However, her father is determined to protect his daughter, even though she does not accept the obstruction. The next morning, Asha wakes up and, upon arriving in the living room, finds her parents and brother sitting at the table. The father explains that after several moments without their cell phones and behaving well, this time he proposes a new challenge. Now, they will spend a week without using electronics. This is unacceptable for Asha, who questions her parents about the lockbox. Her mother explains that they have noticed that electronic devices and social networks are affecting the relationships of many families. So, as a form of experiment to affirm that they are not addicted or dependent on their phones, they will undertake the challenge. Kamaran is the first to agree and places his electronics inside the lockbox and leaves. Asha hesitates to share her parents' idea, claiming she is not being negatively affected. However, the parents insist that she needs to show that she is fine without using devices. She, however, asserts that she saw something quite real in the house the previous night and asks her parents to understand that she is lucid and did not see any hallucination. Asha denies participation in the experiment, which worries and irritates her parents more, further increasing the suspicion that she may be involved with Grimcutty. Her father shouts and orders her to participate in the experiment. When she attempts to grab the cell phone, her father prevents her, and in the tug of war, Asha sees the Grimcutty creature beneath the table, which scares her intensely. Father and mother remain confused by their daughter's fright, who immediately leaves and locks herself in her room, sighing heavily. Later, while everyone was asleep, Asha, knowing her brother, goes to his room and wakes him up. She asks for the laptop that her brother keeps hidden from their parents, claiming she would hand it over if he did not lend it to her. Asha attempts to communicate with her friends, but the internet is turned off. They hear their parents talking in the bedroom, so she decides to go up and grab her things, but the box is locked. She grabs a knife and tries to unblock the lockbox to retrieve her phone. When she reaches for her smartphone, she notices she has 2 messages from Cassidy, and curious, she decides to open them. Soon, she receives a call from the young girl, who turns out to be the same woman from the photo. They talk a bit, and Asha states she saw the macabre entity, not as a real being, but as a ghost that disappeared soon after. Hearing something, she runs to hide in the garage. Her parents go down, and Amir, looking at the box, notices that his daughter took the cell phone. They search for her in the house, but cannot find her. Meanwhile, the young girls chat on the phone, and, not having time to talk, arrange to meet at school the next day. Suddenly, inside the garage, behind the car, the Grimcutty creature appears and shows itself to Asha, who runs away upon seeing it with a blade. Asha runs inside and is caught by the creature, which grabs her arm and injures her. The young girl manages to strike the Grimcutty creature with the knife and locks herself in the bathroom. Her parents force the door and enter to help their daughter, who is screaming. Minutes later, Leah places a bandage on her daughter's wound, believing she was the one with the blade and possibly harming herself. Her parents intend to take her to the doctor the next morning, but Asha insists she cannot miss class. However, they are not favorable to their daughter's idea of going out due to the events. Asha states that school is important and makes her feel good, so her father and mother allow her to go. However, when the parents return to the bedroom, the young girl realizes that the macabre entity is present in her house. The next morning, Asha attends the school meeting with the principal, who is aware that many students will not participate in activities this week due to the events. The principal tries to warn the few students, but one of them shouts affirming that it is all just a prank, something to trick and scare people. Minutes later, Asha finds herself in the bathroom with Cassidy, and the other friend could not come. Cassidy talks to the young girl, and, stating what her parents said, Asha confirms that her parents said exactly the same thing and forced her to store the phones in the lockbox. They find the behavior of their parents strange and question what could be generating this obsession on their part to take away the devices and fear Grimcutty. They look for a way to connect again, and Cassidy takes them to the house of the wealthy young Oliver. When they arrive, they find him throwing a party, as his parents are out of the country. He and the others mock the story of Grimcutty and make videos insinuating they are under the influence of the unknown. The young man frees the laptop for the girls, and Asha researches the case we saw at the beginning. Melinda, after the incident with her, wrote a documentary talking about her son and that they need to take more screen time away from him, and parents should do the same, proposing a challenge. Later, noticing her daughter's absence, Leah looks for news and ends up seeing the video recorded at Oliver's house and sees her daughter there. Night falls, and at the young man's house, the Grimcutty creature rises from the outside. Inside, the fun is guaranteed, but Asha is alone in the room after her friend left. She searches for more about something that explains the events, but finds nothing. She decides to call her brother, and when he answers, she warns that their parents are looking for her. Asha wants a favor and asks him to search for the residence of the woman from the documentary, Melinda. Suddenly, Asha hears wind and a strange breeze outside the house. When she goes to check, she realizes that Grimcutty is approaching the house. She runs to post on the Friends forum and says that Melinda may have started the terror of the Grimcutty story. She goes downstairs to try to leave, but the creature appears at the entrance and forces her to run inside, where no one can see what her eyes see. Grimcutty soon catches up to her in the kitchen and injures the young girl's leg. Before she cuts him on the arm, he disappears. Scared, she runs to the hallway, but there she is, surprised and caught again by Grimcutty. Her parents arrive at the party and turn off the music, hearing Asha's screams. They go up the stairs and find her injuring herself since they cannot see the invisible Grimcutty. The scene leaves everyone frightened. After Leah comforts her daughter, Amir receives a notification that someone in their home is using the internet, so, worried about the son, they decide to return as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, after finding the woman's address, he tries to call his sister, but in the reflection of the laptop, he sees Grimcutty. Cameron looks back but sees nothing. However, when looking back at the reflection given by the laptop, it is already too late for him to run, as the creature approaches to grab him. When his parents arrive home, they find their son fallen, wearing a tie, but fortunately alive. The next day, when Asha wakes up, she realizes she is in a hospital bed, along with her brother in the same situation, but still unconscious. When her mother leaves, she notices that the laptop is there, and when she takes a glance, she discovers what her brother found. Without thinking, she gets dressed and heads out, but before leaving, she sees Cassidy's parents and then goes to her friend's room. They talk, and Asha notes that Cassidy had an encounter with Grimcutty, which injured her too. Asha, while conversing, states that she has a theory about what is happening. She explains that before her father and mother learned that her brother was looking to know about Grimcutty, the being did not attack the young man. But when her parents found out, at that very moment, the creature appeared to Cameron and attacked him. It is as if the parents released this entity when they stress or worry unduly about their children. The two discover that the parents' hysteria worrying about the Grimcutty story makes this being even stronger. Cassidy asks Asha to find a solution, as she consulted with a psychiatrist, and the more the situation worsens for those unaware of the creature, the more concerning it will become, and Grimcutty will grow stronger. Leah returns to the room and does not find her daughter, only the open laptop. When Amir returns and she knows that her daughter has left, she makes up an excuse, saying that Asha is in the office and going for a walk. Minutes later, we see Asha arriving at Melinda's house. She is alive and well, and when questioned about the incidents regarding Grimcutty, she denies knowing about it, only saying they had a small family accident. Asha informs that what Melinda published has become a challenge for parents, something religious that makes them follow step by step. However, she does not want to discuss much and enters without giving further explanations. Asha does not want to leave without discovering more, so she circles the house and finds in the trash several destroyed electronic devices. Without being invited, she enters the house through the upper door and finds Brandon's room, which is locked with locks on the outside. Asha ends up opening the door to the room and does not find the boy. There is also a door in the same situation with a lock. Then she opens the locks and finds the boy Brandon inside, pale, due to medications his mother gives him. Asha wants to get him out of there, but Melinda appears with a gun and detains her. She takes her outside when she hears a car approaching. It is Leah, and who greets her at the door is Melinda herself, saying that she detained Asha because she was invading her home. Leah carries her daughter out of the house, even though Asha says the woman has imprisoned the boy. She tells that the parents are feeding the evil with such hysteria, since when they saw the photo of Grimcuddy. But Leah does not listen. When she gets in the car, she sees the creature approaching and realizes that her mother's stress causes Grimcuddy to approach them. Asha tries to calm her mother until she breaks the windshield and injures herself. Leah then calms down. Grimcuddy disappears, and afterward, Leah hands the cell phone to her daughter and returns to Melinda's house. Knowing that her daughter has never had a history of lying, she enters the woman's house claiming that her keys are inside the house. However, she begins to question Melinda about what her daughter said and accuses her of all the events involving Grimcuddy starting with her. She defends herself, saying that her son saw Grimcuddy's photo and then saw himself harm, and since then, she has tried to forget the incident, knowing that her connection to it could cause further distress in Brandon. The woman gets irritated, and this attracts the creature to her son's room, and soon screams echo through the house. When Leah goes up to the room, she sees the boy suspended in the air, where the invisible Grimcuddy grabs him. Melinda goes up with the gun, but Asha distracts her, and Leah knocks her out. This causes Grimcuddy to disappear. In the hospital, Amir decides to check his son's laptop and discovers that he searched for things about Grimcuddy. Soon, the boy wakes up and realizes that his father is very angry with what he has been researching. Meanwhile, Leah arrives bringing Brandon unconscious and hands him over to the doctors. In the waiting room, Asha sees a friend and asks about Cassidy, and the young girl states that her friend attempted self-harm and is critically hospitalized. In Cameron's room, he witnesses his father getting angry with him and notices Grimcuddy emerging from the darkness. Amir, feeling that something is wrong, throws the laptop on the floor and tells the boy to get dressed, which forces the creature to disappear. While the boy gets dressed, Leah appears and talks to her husband, asserting that their children are fine and that they are the problem. She offers a tranquilizer injection for him to relax and not bring the evil back, but he, confused, refuses. Suddenly, 2 police officers arrive and ask Leah for explanations for taking Brandon away. Amir looks for his son and discovers that he has fled, causing him worry, and consequently, Grimcuddy emerges behind Cameron. The boy runs, but his sister grabs him and brings him inside the pantry. She shares what she knows and what she will do, then takes a pair of scissors and leaves her brother there, going to attract her father's attention, and with that, she also attracts the Macabre entity. However, time is short, and Grimcuddy finds Cameron. Asha comes across her father and acts quickly to force him to get angry with her, then runs to an empty place in the basement and waits to encounter Grimcuddy, knowing that he can be injured and perhaps killed. Asha has her first horrifying encounter and stabs the creature several times in the belly until it falls to the ground, but this does not kill it. The creature looks at her wanting her blood, and when the young girl runs to meet her father, he asks her to drop the scissors. Suddenly, Grimcuddy presses her against the wall, wanting to hurt her with the scissors, but she acts quickly when her father tries to grab the gun and injures him. She then runs outside. Amir stumbles out and, fearing that what his wife said is true, decides to inject himself with the tranquilizer. Suddenly, Asha is lifted up and suffocated by Grimcuddy. Amir then injects himself with the tranquilizer, and the attack on his daughter ceases. Fortunately, both are free from the creature, and soon Leah arrives with the doctors to help them. The final scene shows that many families have gone through the terror of Grimcuddy, but managed to overcome such a dark entity, the origins of which remain unknown.